Yes.
Okay. My name is Tony Thomas, and you're watching Hardwired Exotics on YouTube. What's going on YouTube? So, big surprise. Did not kind of expect this, kind of a last minute thing. We ended up coming to Cassie's /birthday / I'm just a good husband and I take care of her. We come to Myrtle Beach to check out the Crazy Mason milkshake bar. Is that bar?
Yeah. So in Myrtle Beach, there's a milkshake place, and I haven't even been there yet, and I live in Myrtle Beach, and they make these outrageous.
It's crazy.
I'm sure
she's gonna put some in
milkshakes.
The videos,
Yeah.
So. While we were here, I hit my buddy up, Chris Graham, at SFB Exotics and FXB.
Yeah. So yeah, we own a beard company also, and we just go by sfbeard.com, and that's the way that you can check us out there as well.
Yeah.
Pretty much all of our businesses, you go play off the letters SFB. My wife owns a training and nutrition business, and it all started, we called it Stronger, Faster, Better. And so that was her Instagram handle, was Kgram and then SFB. And it stood for Stronger, Faster, Better. It was like her mantra. And then we kind of like used that when we started the snake business. We used SFB Exotics. And then, somebody was like, what does that stand for? And I was joking around and I said, some effing breeder. And they're like, oh, I thought it meant some effing beard. And I was like, no, but that's really funny. We were starting a beard company. I was like, well, let's just use that too. So we did SF Beard.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how all that came together.
So if you've paid attention and you hear some of Craig's, Chris got a big booty discount codes.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So anyway, we ended up at Chris's house and just kind of checking things out here, and something Chris mentioned to us might be good for our YouTube followers, his and mine, that some people only have a certain amount of space that they can breed snakes in.
Yeah, so we were talking about how big is your facility?
So we have about 2,000 square foot.
Right, I'm a little bit less than that here. I'm about 120 square feet. So just smaller than yours. We're in actually a 1-bedroom room right now in our house. And so this is all I've got. 1 bedroom, 120 square feet, and I can't add any more room to this. That's it. It's whatever I can fit. 120 square feet, that's it. We can reconfigure a rack, but that's it. I can't blow out any walls. We can't get any bigger. This is the only space that I dedicated in this house.
Yeah.
So.
And Conor McGregor happens to be fighting tonight, so if we have to pause, I'm sorry, we'll come back.
Yeah, so this video has to get done before the Conor fight. That Conor's going to win.
So, anyway, in 120 square foot, what can you accommodate?
So I think the reason I thought this was a good video is because I could also pick your brain about when you can only fit. I have 3 ARS racks right now. I have the hatchling rack where I put the babies in.
Hold on. Hatchling rack.
Right. Then we've got these, which these are I think the 70 series.
Yep.
I call them 70-30.
30-70. Yep.
Okay, so 30 racks of the big girl tubs, and then this is the
50-40.
50-40, right? So this is like kind of like your small females, your adult males.
Yep.
Some females might stay in here, I think, their whole life, right? I think you can keep maybe
Smaller one.
Yeah, some of the smaller females in here their whole life, and then like any of the big females definitely have to go to the 70-30. So I could probably fit maybe 2 more racks if I didn't have like the big snakes. So we did the berms and the boas. So we have the bigger racks on that wall. I can't fit any unless I got rid of all of those. That's that decision of like, we have a couple of female berms. Do we breed them? Do we get rid of them and do ball pythons? But I can only fit so many snakes. Maybe if I stuck with just ball pythons, we're talking about maybe 100, 150 snakes at most. So I think my question would be to you, because you're a smart guy, you've been doing this a long time, is if you can only have, let's say, 100 snakes in a room, and for some people that's a big collection, for some people that's not a big collection at all.
Right.
How do you kind of concentrate what snakes, and how do you not ruin it? How do you not spread too thin? Like, what would be your advice to somebody like me? If I can only have 100 snakes and that's it, where do you start? How do you, like, where would you look at just recessive snakes? Would you only look at certain recessive snakes? Would you just do codoms? Like, what would be your advice to somebody in my situation?
Right. So, not everybody has the luxury of having the space to have a large collection.
Right.
Just as yourself. Which, just like you said, some people consider this a large collection, some people don't.
Right.
So, I think that, personally, my opinion, everybody's going to have their own, just like...
Yes.
Okay. So, everybody's going to have their own opinion about, what they want to do. Visually, I think if you're going to have animals, visually, I think you need to appreciate those animals.
Right.
So, I think visually, you should buy the animals or create the animals that visually you want to look at, no matter what it is.
Right.
I'm a firm believer in don't just go buy a bunch of clowns, or don't just go buy a bunch of pies or desert ghosts or whatever's popular. I'm not a believer in doing such.
Okay.
I think you should buy whatever you want to look at. You have to tend to that animal. You have to feed that animal. You have to take care of that animal no matter what happens.
Right.
That animal is yours. You have to take care of it. So I'm a firm believer in buying what you visually like to look at. Now, outside of that, as a breeder point of view, that's a hard decision because there's so many routes as a breeder that you want to take. So I believe that you should take any projects that you want to create, whether it's a year or two, or maybe 10 or 12 years down the road. I have projects that I'm still working on that I'm 8 or 9 years invested into.
Right.
Some people don't want to invest that kind of time. Some people do. Some people don't care if it takes 20 or 30 year or a lifetime to make those projects happen. So you have to look at yourself as to what you, deep down inside, somebody's getting serious down there. But you have to look at yourself seriously as to what you want to create.
Right, and that makes a lot of sense.
And that's going to be different for each individual.
Yeah, and I think I've learned too is that you've got to stay focused on what it is that you want. I think a lot of people kind of start to see like on Instagram a snake and they're like, oh, I want to get into that project. And then somebody posts a picture and they're like,
I want to get into that.
They get on like that hype of like, I want to get into that type of like clown pies. And then all of a sudden it's like tri-stripes. And then it's like ultra males. And then it's like, and they start to buy and they spread themselves so thin.
Then they get burnt out.
Yeah, I agree. And I think like for me, what I've tried to learn is like, if I can only have a couple snakes, is like, I've got to pick a couple different areas and like focus on that. I can't have a ton of females that are kind of like spread through a couple projects and then a couple males that might, like, you've got to really focus and kind of hone in. Like, I don't have the luxury of having a ton of snakes and a ton of projects. So I kind of have to pick projects and be very like dedicated just to those couple projects. and not go into the hype of everything else.
For sure.
So.
And you mentioned recessive, so recessive projects are going to take up more space.
Right.
If you don't have the space that I have, or even a space that you have, you might not want to consider recessive projects.
Right.
Because you're going into making a bunch of hits, or even double hits, triple hits. I mean,
right.
Some of us have a whole 50-40 rack
of just recessive, of a certain type of recessive.
A certain double or triple hit project.
Right.
So you have to think about those things. You have to think about those things in making those projects happen as well.
Right.
So,
and that's and I think the last thing that I'll bring up too is like, I'm trying to have a female breed to a male and get some triple hets, and I said something.
Fights are on.
Beep, 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 beep.
Okay, we'll be right there. Okay, thank you. When I have a female that's going to breed to a male and possibly give me triple hets, is like, now I'm looking at, if I want to hold all those back, that's a whole nother couple racks.
Yep.
Where it's like, now those have to grow up. And so it starts to think, when you start to like go down that rabbit hole of adding a couple other things, is you start to open up more and more space, which I don't have. So I have to be very selective about holdbacks, very selective about the projects, and just stay focused on what the end game is.
Yep.
So
I completely agree. But also, you can't forget about the codominant genes, because albino pied. Let's just make that a point. Albino pied. There are a bunch of people that have albino pied.
Right.
But if you add leopard, cypress, fire, some of those other codominant genes in there, it adds another level to that albino pied that nobody else might not have done by the time you get there.
And that's what I keep learning now, is like, you look back at the things I bought maybe 2 years ago, and I look at them like, you try to be cheap maybe, or like save some money, and you didn't buy certain things. You're like, why didn't I just spend the money then?
Spend the money.
Yeah, so that's true. When you don't have a lot of snakes, you got to kind of go big on a couple snakes. And
you do.
Just get a couple big powerhouses, and that's all you're focused on.
Yep.
So
recessive projects are not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing, depending on your projects that you want to work. Ultimately, it boils down to what you as a person, me as a person, you as a person wants to do.
Right.
Nobody can tell you what's good or bad, or what's going to make money or not going to make money. I'm a firm believer in doing what you love and making something cool.
Yeah. No, but I appreciate you coming out and like looking at everything that I had and kind of giving the advice. And I feel like, just being here for a couple hours, like I've learned like a lot, and I appreciate that. And it means a lot to some people that, you're kind of like just starting out and like struggling and figuring it all out, and, it kind of like refocuses you, and, so I do appreciate that. So
absolutely.
Yeah. But I do hope you enjoy your time in Myrtle Beach while you're here.
Yep. I know Cassie is. So anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I know it's kind of a lot of information jam-packed right there in a couple of minutes.
Yeah. But if you're somebody like me that has a very small collection, do comment down below, so I kind of like, I'll follow you guys back, especially if you have YouTube channels too. And it's nice to be able to like find somebody that's similar to me that I can bounce ideas off of too. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
And reach out, either one of us, questions, comments, anything like that.
Yeah.
So hope y'all enjoy this, and see you next go around.
Thanks for watching Hardwired Exotics, and make sure you subscribe. Bye!